It is Yellowjackets Day. Let's talk about the latest episode, Hunter Gatherer, where we pretty much saw the group starting to have this sort of split. Before we get any further into this, I do want to say we will be covering the show every week, as well as have theories every week on what's coming next. So make sure you are subscribed and hit that notification bell. We already covered some of the episodes prior, but let's get into episode 4, which is definitely one of my favorites because we got a new rendition of the theme song No Return as well, and we also got a whole new outlook on what's to come. So pretty much in this episode, we saw that the past girls are starting to have a sort of rift between them, where we have some of the ones who feel that Lottie is sort of this messiah person that has this sort of connection to the wilderness, whereas other ones aren't really too keen to believe that right here. We also have Thaisa, who is starting to develop these sort of otherworldly powers that others, especially Van, are trying to see. Maybe something connection with Lottie's little power she has as well. And I really love that the show keeps on teasing us as to what is going on. Is this supernatural, or is this coincidence, or like what is the whole deal with everything going on, right? I know that we saw also Coach kind of getting into it, and he sort of already unpacked everything he was feeling, because he had been holding this sort of feeling about the girls and also Travis turning into cannibals, and he was pretty much like, yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna eat other people, like, because there's this whole fight about who took some bear meat and everything, and everybody's saying it's probably Coach because he didn't eat none of Jackie, so he's probably trying to get some food out of this. And he's like, what is gonna happen if I did take that meat? Are y'all gonna eat me like y'all did Jackie? And that sort of starts to create this rift that I think is interesting to see happen. And like I said, I don't think Coach is safe. I feel like Coach might be the next one on the chopping block, served on a plate, because we keep having this sort of thing with Coach going back and remembering his past life, what would have been, and all of this. And I feel like that's just sort of making it for his tribute that's to come. More on that at the end of this video and on my theory videos coming next week. So we also see the grown-ups as well dealing with all of the issues that they have. Walt and Misty are still on their little road trip going to find Nat wherever she is. And I really like this dynamic between Misty and Walt, because they aren't sure if they can trust each other, especially Misty towards Walt. And so Misty finally confronts Walt. Is it you're with me right now because I'm a yellow jacket and you want to find out what happened and all of that? And he's pretty much like, no, I'm just with you because you have some great taste in musicals, and you also are one of the best detectives I know. And so they're on this whole ordeal trying to find where Nat is. And then you also have Nat and Lottie as well with the whole cult situation going on. We also see Nat, who is now bonding with Lisa, one of the other cult members that Nat actually attacked. And so we see this whole situation start to develop between them. And there's been some theories out there about Lisa, and it kind of feels like we could be diving into that, where Lisa might be a little bit closer to the Yellowjackets than we assumed. But more on that on my theory video next week for sure. This is just recapping and talking about my thoughts of the episode. I really enjoyed the whole little trip that Nat and Lisa took as well, because you really got to see a side of Nat that we hadn't seen before, and she's sort of feeling this bond between her and Lisa. You also have Lottie, who is kind of getting a little worried about these visions that are coming back to her. Apparently she hadn't had these visions in a while, and these were visions that we had seen she had prior when she was younger as well. So it's kind of interesting these visions are starting to come back as well now that Thaisa also is sort of having these episodes she would have when she was younger. The episode title is Old Wounds. We are starting to see these old wounds probably starting to unravel, and that band-aid is going to have to come off quick. We see Shauna being one of those that is taking the band-aid off quick when she realizes that Callie is sort of lying about what she's doing and all of this, decides to take her on a trip with her to tell her the truth about what happened with Adam and what exactly is the whole situation with her father and herself. And she tells her that she killed Adam because she thought he was the one that was blackmailing her and the Yellowjackets, and finds out that no, it was actually your father doing this because there were some things we did out there that we're pretty ashamed about and don't want to talk about. Of course, she doesn't go into details just yet, because as the audience, we still have to figure them out. I thought this was such a left field thing to happen, because I never expected Shauna to go in depth with Callie about what happened to Adam ever, and this early on into the season as well. So it was kind of crazy, and I was just like, what is happening right now? So then we eventually get Jeff, who finds out that this happened as well, and he's a little bit hesitant, but then Callie comes out of nowhere and she's just like, I want to make some dinner with Shauna. I'm just like, what is going on with this family right here, right? Obviously, something more is going to happen here that we're still not aware of, because in the teaser for next week's episode, we see Callie telling them, I guess, about what happened with the police officer. And I'm interested to see what exactly Callie has told the police already, and what is going to happen next with Shauna, Jeff, and this whole situation with Adam as well. Back in the past group, we see that they are now, like I said, in a rift between Nat and Lottie. You have people who are sort of saying Nat isn't pulling her weight as the hunter and is sort of going to have them and is going to make them starve because she's not really getting any game. And so she says, all right, if y'all are so keen to believe that Lottie has gotten us all of this food, which was the bear that Lottie had killed and also the birds we saw in the previous season that had ultimately came crashing through the cabin, and people say that was because of Lottie dripping the blood on the symbol, then let's have a little contest. Let's see who can catch the first game. And so Nat and Lottie go on their own, and eventually Nat finds a moose that's under like water under the ice and it's frozen, and she says, if we get this, it feeds us through the spring. I need everybody's help. We see Lottie going to this like grave, and then she ultimately like cuts herself, blood starts to drip, and then we see that she has this sort of like dream of sorts, vision you might want to call it, with all of the Yellowjackets who were here, even the ones from season 1, and then she just passes out, and we're not too sure exactly how to interpret that just yet, but I really do think that we are seeing more of these blurred lines between what is real and what is not. And I think that's so interesting that the show does this, because we are every episode trying to figure out, is this supernatural, is this all in their heads, or what is going on? And for a moment I thought it was like probably all in their heads, but now I'm starting to believe this could be supernatural, because at the end of this episode we see that Javi is back. So before we get into that, we don't get any game from anybody. Nat isn't able to get the moose as it completely just falls down into the water, and Lottie of course is found in the snow passed out, so no game from her. So both of them end up not really winning at this, but at the end of the episode we see that Javi is found, and this is because Thaisa and also Van try to pinpoint all of these trees that Thaisa has been walking in her sleep to, and they pinpoint to a tree that she hasn't gone, and so they go to see if there really is a tree in this pinpoint where it seems Thaisa would go to next. And when they go to that area, they find that Javi is there, alive, but not really himself, it seems. When they bring him back, he's not speaking or anything, and now it creates an even bigger rift, I think, between the girls, because a lot of them believed Lottie when she said he was alive, and of course Nat had been saying that he wasn't alive anymore. It was impossible. How could he survive all of this time on his own out there in the wilderness? And so now I think next episode we're going to see this group eventually split it in two, and a lot more questions arise, and sort of maybe have different sects of the group instead of just one core group, which is going to be interesting to see how that plays out, especially with food and all of that. As I said, we do have Thaisa in the present, who is dealing with these sort of like visions and sleepwalking that she used to when she was younger now happening again, and she's trying to go find these answers. So she goes to find a adult Van, who is played by Lauren Ambrose, who we hadn't seen adult Van at all in season 1 or at all in season 2 until now, and it seems she runs a video shop now, and that's pretty much where our episode ends as they meet. And I think that this is definitely going to be a very interesting episode of 5 coming up next. So what are my thoughts and my opinions on this episode? I thought it was great. I like the whole aspect of seeing young Nat and young Lottie having this sort of competition, because they both represent two different things, where we have Lottie, who is more into the spiritual, supernatural wilderness vibe to it, and Nat, who is trying to keep a straight head, grounded, and just try to figure out things with reason. And so we see this whole divide between the group as well, because you have people, and I think this is just with anything, who are more faith driven, and you have people who are trying to find more reason and trying to be more grounded with their beliefs and all of that. So I like this whole divide that's going on right now, and I'm curious to see how it's gonna be explored more as the season progresses. And like I said, the younger versions are definitely going into a very dark path, where I feel like the adult versions are headed more towards that healing aspect of it all, as we see them trying to like uncover these wounds they had hidden and all this trauma they had buried so deep within them. We even see Misty at a point start to have a little bit of a crack as she is talking about the things that they have done in the past. So I feel like we're headed with the present selves to that healing, and we're headed with the past selves more to what that brokenness was. And this parallel that's happening between both timelines, I think, is so good, because it really shows you how these 25 years made them. And so I'm curious to see what's coming next in the final episodes. I have some theories and thoughts on what's coming in episode 5 for you, as well as what I think happened to Javi. I gotta check it out one more time and just get my theories down, but that should be up by Monday. But anyways, I appreciate you watching this video. If you made it all the way to the end, like I said, we're going to be covering Yellowjackets every week, so make sure you're tuned in here by subscribing to the channel, hitting that notification bell. We're on the road to 30,000 subscribers. At 27,500 we will announce a giveaway, so stay tuned. tuned for that, really close to that. And as always, make sure you follow us on our website, www.culturelixir.com. Also, our social media channels on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Follow us on that, and that's going to do it. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on Yellowjackets Episode 4. What did you think of everything that happened in the comments down below? And as always, I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.